Yeah, I heard Debbie say something about Carl's haircut. But I'm the one responsible for it. Every time he got a haircut, all Carl cared about was that colic come back. He said, whatever you do, don't let that colic stand up, you know. And they got the old standard haircut. But
He just didn't go to you very often.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
But the first time I met Carl, I got saved in 1975. And the charismatic renewal was going on in the church. I was at St. Blaise, and he came to teach, which was unusual in itself. And he taught there for quite a while. And I was so impressed with his, he's the first person I met that I saw what a real Christian was about. I mean, he was relentless in the Bible, and he had insights that I learned from him. And I think more than anything was his dedication to God. And it was a big influence on my life. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story that's kind of, I bet a lot of you don't know, but I had a girl come work with me at the shop, at our salon. Her name was Nancy, and she used to listen in on our conversations. And she just got born again. She was a born again Jew, which she was something. But anyway, from listening to Karl talk, she grabbed me and told me that God spoke to her and said that she's supposed to marry Karl. She was convinced of it. No, she did everything in her power to try to attract him. But Karl, he didn't respond at all. But she was so impressed with him too. It's wonderful hearing all you people talk about him, because he was a unique person. And the one thing I remember, somebody asked him what was the most important thing Jesus said, and he said that you shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart, your whole soul, your whole mind. And he did.
Yes.
And he was a good man.
I have a story that goes back into like the late 80s or 90s. It was right when Karl was publishing Holiness and Victory Over Sin. And the Church of God of Cleveland, Tennessee publishing house was printing his book. And I knew that I was going to make a trip near there. And so the story is about how Karl helped me with good doctrine and apologetics. Right about that time period, the John Ankerberg Show had been putting out some teachings, in case you're not familiar with them, especially back at that time, you would call them a discernment ministry. Mm-hmm. Or if you wanted to be real blunt about it, heretic hunters. And they had put out a little booklet, and it was bashing the divine healing ministers very strongly. And I got the little booklet and I was reading it, and it was just disgusting me, because Karl's teaching was excellent on healing is in the atonement and the different facets that were involved with that. And so this John Ankerberg Show comes out with this booklet. And so I decided, I think I'm going to do something about that. And so I began taking the booklet and highlighting sentences that I disagreed with. Now, one of the things that they were trying to say is that certain healing ministries were following, doing the same kind of things that some guru in India was practicing, and that it was all demonic. And so I was picking out these verses that I wanted to contradict with them. And I didn't know whether they'd even give me an audience, but they did. They let me talk to, I think the booklet was mostly produced by a John Weldon. And I got in touch with them, and John Weldon agreed to talk with me. And so I'd have these sentences that were highlighted, and Karl let me talk to him. And Karl, I'm thinking the best response to this sentence is such and such. And Karl might agree with me, and then we'd read another sentence, and he said, I'd say something, and he'd say, well, I think you better approach it with something else. I think that would work better. And so I had composed all this. I got an appointment with John Weldon, and then Karl set it up that I could pick up his books at the publishing house, which was, they were both in Tennessee, but they weren't in the same city. So I go and I go to I think I picked the books up afterwards. I don't remember. In any case, I did both on the trip. But when I got my appointment with John Weldon, it was clear to me that he was not a truth seeker. It was clear to me this is what he wanted to put out, and he didn't want what I believed was a beautiful scriptural response to it. And so when I left, I was thinking, you know, my efforts and Karl's efforts went into that, and I felt like I had a beautiful message for him. And when I left, I was emotionally traumatized for several hours, because I went there thinking that they were really seeking the truth, and basically all they wanted to do was promote whatever they were promoting. So this is a testimony to me how Karl helped me both understand truth of the gospel, because he had the Greek that he knew so well that was going to, you know, if I didn't know it well enough to present it, he did. And so I wanted to give this testimony of how Karl helped me with doctrine and apologetics.